Hey, mom. What's up? I'm actually recording the podcast right now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Bye. All right. Sorry about that. Moms. you know.
Hello, friends, and welcome in to the All the Spoilers podcast. I'm Ed,
I'm Israel.
and today we're going to be talking about the 1992 movie El Mariachi, directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring Carlos Gallardo, Reynal Martinez, Consuelo Gomez, Peter Marquardt, and most importantly, Tito Tortuga. He was in the fucking credits. Tito Tortuga, very important role. And I guess the first thing we should talk about is how the movie was made, the budget of the movie, $7,000. The movie actually holds the world record for the smallest budget to then make more than $1 million at the box office, and I believe it made $2 million. All the actors, all the crew, everything was basically just his friends. The musicians were his family and friends, the actors, everybody. So very cool that he could make this movie in an independent way on such a small budget and then make it such a hit. It won, I think, Best Picture, but some award at the Sundance Film Festival. And then at that point, it was picked up by Columbia, and they put a bunch of money into it. They put like $200,000 into it, like marketing and everything like that. But the base movie, was made for $7,000, and that, especially in today's standards, that is such a small amount. Like you could spend $7,000 on like a fucking Twitch streaming setup. Like it's a very small amount of money. They must have already had half of those guns and shit already.
Well, it's funny you say that because like I don't know if you had seen it, but on the DVD there was a 10-minute film school that he made, and he like talked about all these stats. It was like super cool, like how he actually shot the movie in silence to save money, which like he didn't have any, like he completely did it all in silence. He only did it with 25 rolls of film, which was just insane. He he used the actors obviously for like a lot of the prop things. And like obviously when we get into more details, I can give more of these things that he brought out, but like the pistols, some of them are real and some of them were like just straight up water guns. And like which was like funny, and he like during this like thing he like pointed out which ones were which. It was really cool. And then he like talked about how he only used like a few lights, and they were those like those like work lights that you squeeze and they have like a little clamp, like
Hmm.
the big old tin like do you know what I'm talking about, those
Yeah.
like lights? Those are what he used. He just used a few of them. And like he had what was the other things? He used the same guitar case for both the guitar cases, like, which is super funny because you can like when you watch it again, you could see like the little defects on the actual guitar case. But then like when he opens it, he used a different guitar case, but he showed the real guitar case like with all the weapons in it, like the one with all the red lining, and like the top was completely like broken and like the black part was peeled off. And he's like, instead of just getting some black paint, like I just edited it to make it so that like I just used the same case, like because that's how like cheap he was, and it was just like so cool to like for him to go into all the detail about all the cost cutting measures and like how he filmed certain scenes. Like he's like, you would think that this scene right here would be very hard to shoot. Well, let me show you, and he like broke it down on how he would like, do it if like if El Mariachi, like if he like missed his shot when he threw his guitar over the balcony in the hotel scene, like he would like cut to a different place and make it, and like and it was just like really cool. And he was like, yeah, and you can see all the cuts here and here and here, and like it was just super cool. Like the bus scene, like there were so many like really cool things. Like definitely if you could find it, I don't know if you've seen it, but like I would definitely watch it. Like it was just such a cool 10 minutes of like really awesome footage of just him explaining all the like ways that he filmed this movie and how he like not only saved money, but like also like how he was just like learning lighting and things like that, and like how certain scenes were shot a certain way, and just it was just really really interesting. I was super pumped to watch that after watching the movie. Like it was
Yeah.
just such a cool.
And he wrote a book about it all too.
Oh,
Like
nice, nice.
how an independent it's called like how an independent filmmaker spent $7,000 on a movie and became like a big Hollywood player or whatever, which is exactly what he did.
Yeah, dude, it was it was super cool. Like the well, and just the fact that he filmed it all in silence was just so interesting, and how he decided like when he was editing the film, like with the audio, like if it matched up, that would kind of determine if he was going to use that take or if he had to cut away, kind of thing. Like just it was just really interesting because he had all of them do their dialogue over again, and like it was just so interesting. And then like even the like singing part where and I'm sure we can get into more details like during that scene, but like it was just an exterminator like who just played guitar like that, like a local exterminator, like and yeah, it was just super cool. Like yeah, it was really really I also only watched this in Spanish because they didn't have an English version. So that was like also really cool to like I don't know if it just wasn't an option on the DVD. I'm not sure if they like made a version or not.
Well, I do. I have an English track on the version that I saw, but I watched it in Spanish as well.
Yeah, yeah, but
So, well, I guess we shouldn't talk about the other stuff too much before we actually talk about the
right.
movie, but a lot of the things that he had to do, well, first of all, shooting it in silence or redubbing all the lines is like an old Italian spaghetti western thing. That's what they did in all the spaghetti westerns. Mainly, well, it was actually just an Italian technique that they would use, but also they had to do it in multiple languages. So they just did it, everybody would say their lines in their own language, and then they would go back and redub the stuff that they had to redub to do it in the all Italian version and the all English version. And this being basically a Western, using that sort of old school technique that was used in those kind of westerns is very cool.
Yeah.
Getting into the movie, we start off in this desert landscape, this Mexican town. There's like an old vehicle, busted up vehicle on blocks. We're looking at this tiny little jail. A car rolls up. This busted old van is humping along the dirt path, and this old woman gets out, and she doesn't look like she should be running the prison at all. She looks like mi abuela or something. She's got like dyed hair and everything. But apparently she's running the place. She goes in there and it's wake up time for the prisoners. So she grabs a wrench. She goes in there and she's banging it on the bars to wake them up. Flips on the lights. All these dudes they're sleeping on the floor. They're like getting up, rubbing their eyes. And then there's this other dude, and he's already up. He's got his fucking leather vest. He's looking sharp, and he's got this fucking desk with all this shit on it. His briefcase open, his portable phone, which is used throughout the entire movie. That fucking phone,
Yeah,
and
it's
he's
so
making
funny.
calls. He's making moves. And when she turns on the lights, he has a fucking remote control. And he's just like, fuck that shit. And he turns the lights off with his remote control because he's whoever he is, which we'll find out, like he's the man in there. He's doing business. And now we cut to a woman's feet, and she's walking barefoot along this like little wall by a pool or something. This beautiful woman in her purple bikini, she dives in the water, gets out. As she's walking along the side of the pool, sort of toweling off or whatever, she walks by this dude in all white, and he's obviously the boss. We know that he's not just her boyfriend or whatever. Like he's the man. He's the boss. And she like walks by and touches him because that's what you do when you're like the boss's girl, right? Like he could ditch you at any moment. So you have to always be like giving him attention and showing him that you belong and that you should not be ditched. And now we cut back to the jail with the dude there by his phone, and he's reaching for the phone again, and it just rings. And he's kind of like startled, and he picks up the phone, and it's the dude that we just saw in all white. And he's like, "You know who this is, Azul, the big Mexican dude in jail. His name's Azul." And Azul immediately knows, and he's like, "Moco." Through this conversation that they have on the phone, we learned that they were either partners or he worked for him. But whatever happened, Azul took the fall, and he's in jail. Moco made a ton of money, and Azul doesn't get his share. So he's talking about, where's my money? Blah blah blah. Moco says, "Oh, you want us to get you out? I'll send some of my men to get you out." And Azul believes him. He's like, "All right, now we're talking. This is the old Moco, right? The partners that they used to be or whatever." But the whole time we're cutting back and forth between a truck with armed men pulling up and this conversation on the phone until Azul, he looks out the window and sees the truck and these armed dudes hopping out. And he's like, "Wait a minute, what the fuck's going on? Did you send these guys? Who are these dudes?" Moco just doesn't respond, just hangs up on him. And we see these dudes bust in. And also, right from the beginning, like you were talking about the camera cuts. The camera cuts, because he had to do it a lot of times, but it actually makes the movie cooler. It makes the camera work
Oh yeah.
cooler. Everything is really stylish. We're always getting uh, probably sometimes due to the having to dub lines, we're getting these what I call comic book style shots where you're like just getting the eyes or like just the facial expressions and stuff. And it's a lot of like short shots, quick cuts, and weird angles sometimes. Maybe he had to like not get something in the shot, but it all works so well. Like when you have these limitations, sometimes it makes things better. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we're working with right from the beginning.
Yeah, it definitely added a flair to this movie that was just so welcome. Like such a cool, like it just added so much to the whole like vibe. Like it was just awesome.
And which I think is actually missing from a lot of his
Oh yeah.
next movies, even the Sin City stuff, where I'm talking about comic book shots. Like, I don't think there's as many comic book shots in Sin City, even though it's a comic
Yeah.
book movie. But these guys, these armed men, they come into the jail. They hand the old lady some money, and she just lets them right in. Azul, he like kicks the other dudes, the like sleeping dudes, and gets them up. And they got like, I guess this is how prisons in Mexico work. I don't know, but they got like a cooler in there with like just a gallon of water. Just how they drink. They don't gotta call someone for water or anything. But in the cooler, they got guns, and so they're grabbing their guns. The armed men bust in. As they get to the cell, Azul comes out and blows away the first guy, shoots him, and then whistles for his buddies in the other cell. And his buddies jump out and cock the shotgun, and they got another little submachine gun there. So Azul takes his phone, he calls Moko back, and he's like, "I'm still here, Moko, and I got your friends here too, but not for long. They got something they want to tell you. So listen up, because you're going to be screaming it at me when I come to visit you." And it's super. Everything is really cool and stylish here. The
Oh yeah.
lines, the deliveries, everything. And so they have the two guys drag the dead body into the cell, and then we cut to Moko's end of the phone where he just hears gunfire and screams. And then he's just like, and he does really well to play this villain. It's really
Yeah.
cool and not too over the top or cheesy, which it could be.
At least not until the end. That's when it gets like,
Well, then it gets real crazy.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but here he's just playing it so straight and cool and just like a supervillain.
Yeah, you can even see it with his interaction with his, like, lady, like, the
Mhm.
way that he looks at her, like, almost in disgust, like, she's just, like, trying to, like, do the things that you were saying, like, comfort him, touch him, and all that, and he's just, like, even looking at her like, "Ugh," like, "Just stop," like, "You're just" like, he just pulls off that, like, dick really well.
Yeah, in this scene, as when he goes back to answer the phone a second time, like he knows that something's wrong, and the girl is coming by and she to touch him again, and he's just kind of like, "Get the fuck off me, bitch," because he's got work to do. But here in the end of the scene, he just hangs up the phone calmly, and he's just like staring off into the distance, puts his sunglasses on, and we just keep staring off with the soundtrack playing until it just sort of ends, cut to black screen.
It's funny, right during that black screen, I just put down in my notes, "I need a leather vest."
Dude, his leather vest is so cool. And he's also they describe Azul as wearing all black, but his shirt is actually like dark blue.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
vest is
which is
black.
which is funny 'cause with his name, like,
Yeah, it is his name. Now we cut to I don't think they ever say his name, so he's just you call him the Mariachi or
yeah,
Carlos because that's his real name.
yeah.
But he's now on the side of the road and he's hitchhiking.
Dude, the line that he says, I love that first line. I actually wrote it down. He was just like,
He's speaking like a poet. He's like it's like a journal entry because it's narrated in like a past tense and it works
yeah,
really
it's
well.
that morning was just like any other. No love, no luck, and then the car drives by and he's all like trying to and no ride. Nothing changes. And then just him walking with the turtle, dude, like such a great scene. Like, oh
He
my
just
gosh.
continues his little narration monologue and he's like I met a turtle, which this is the great Tito Tortuga right here, the turtle. He's like, I met a turtle walking along the road. We were both taking our time to get to our destination. Like it's just so good. The lines are so good. And he just continues with this great narration as he walks into town. He stops at the coconut stand, gets the coconut
Yeah.
water. The dude's chopping it up with the machete, gives it to him. And then he's just continues walking into town, drinking his coconut. It's beautiful imagery of just this small Mexican town. There's always people in the background. I'm sure they were just people, or just random ass people who happened to be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you even see them like just like sort of staring at the camera because they don't know what's going on. And no one told them like, hey, just chill back there, like whatever. So they're like making weird faces towards the camera, but they're just like the background people. And he walks in, he washes his face with the little at like a random water spigot. All the time the guitar mariachi music is playing, and really at no point when people think of mariachi music, they're usually thinking of like a lot of trumpets and kind of like it's almost like a polka. That's the kind of mariachi that a lot of people are probably used to. It's kind of a dun 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 dun. It's like a polka. But none of this is polka. Like this is like really cool, dramatic, classical sounding kind of guitar. As he's walking into town, still narrating, by the time he stops to get his shoes shined, he's talking about ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to be a mariachi, like my father, like my grandfather, like my great grandfather before him. I want to follow in their footsteps till the end and die with my guitar in my hands. And he says he's not as good as them yet, but he goes from town to town, practicing his trade, gaining new experiences, and he thought that and this is his next town, and he thought that that free coconut on the edge of town was a sign of good luck, but he couldn't have been more wrong. Just as the music kind of fades or stops, and he walks into the first bar to try and get a job.
And correct me if I'm wrong. So it was interesting because I haven't seen this movie before. Like this was the first time I watched it, but I had seen Desperado and I had seen that a bunch. Is this the same bar?
Um, I
Because it
remember
looks
thinking that
absolutely similar, but I don't know if it is. I mean, it
they
could just
might have
be. I mean, a
just
bar.
set it up as the set to make it look similar or something. But I do remember
Yeah,
it being set up in the same way. But we will talk a little bit more about Desperado as we go on because the movies are very similar.
yeah.
So he goes into this bar, and the sort of the Spanish guitar strumming, the thoughtful, poetic kind of music playing stops. And now we get some like serious dramatic music. And he walks in there, and the four dudes at the table over here are like looking at him funny, and the bartender's kind of looking at him funny. He sits down and he orders a fucking soda, and the bartender
Dude, the
looks at
look
him
on the
like, "What
bartender's
the
face.
fuck?" He's like, "This guy's like, what the fuck is this?" So he's drinking his soda, and here we're getting a lot of cool cuts as well. Like just handing him the soda is like a fucking action scene. The way that the camera
Yeah,
work is, it's really cool. It's difficult to describe really because you're like you gotta like you have to see the camera work to really understand the movement. But you feel like even though they're all just sitting in the bar doing nothing or just like looking at him, you feel a lot of movement and a lot of tension just because of the cool camera work. And so he sits down and he's drinking his soda. He's like, you don't have any music in here. And he goes into his little pitch about, I'm a mariachi. I play ballads and originals and love songs. I don't need much money. Like I work mostly off tips, but I could bring some class to your place, and bring in more customers. The dude is like,
I already got a band.
yeah, I already got a band. And he points over at the dude, and we get again like this cool camera work. Sometimes when the camera moves quickly, it's like a whoosh sound. And I think at this point, it's actually like footsteps. It's like as if the camera is like walking or like running over there. It's really cool. And it's not corny again, even though I'm talking about like whoosh sound effects with the camera work. Like it's never corny. It's always cool and stylish. And we look over at this fucking dude, and it's this fucking one dude he's just sitting slumped in the corner wearing his big sombrero, and he's got his huge fucking keyboard. And then he just sets up real quick on two chairs, and and then he starts up a little drum loop, and he's playing like, and this is like the polka, like,
Yeah, this is what everybody kind of associates with, mariachi music because it's just at least,
yeah, this
yeah.
is the kind of thing that you sort of think about, and it's really stupid. And well, this guy's stuff, and it's like there's even like a little vocal thing that's like, yeah, 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 like in the back. It's really silly.
I
And
love
but
how like it's shot in a way and like when it shows him playing, it's meant to almost make it seem like this is so simple. Like it
yeah,
was just so cool, like how it was like this is, and then like even he looked almost a little bit bored. Like it was just really cool how it was that whole like shot and like because you could tell that like the whole meaning behind it was be like this is bullshit and like actually you really would benefit from an actual musician.
yeah. And I love that in 19, well, I think it came out, I'm not even sure what I said at the beginning, but it came out in 92 at the Sundance, and then it came out in theaters in 93. But in 92, to be making this statement about music, like this is a modern statement about, looping and sampling and quantization and auto tune, and fucking now we're on to like vaporwave shit where people are not even taking a sample and making their own song. They're taking the actual song and like adding effects to it and then like putting it out there. So it's really cool to be making this statement, and for our main character to be this traditionalist dude following in the footsteps of his fathers before him, who wants to master the art of music. But this dude, he puts on his little show, and the bartender is like, he's like bobbing
Yeah,
his head
he's
to
like
it. He's like
digging it,
feeling
and he's
it.
like, yeah.
And Carlos is like, what the fuck is this shit? And then he finishes with a like just a big key wipe. And then again hurries, because he uses a lot of fast forward camera work here. So like
It
as
was
he's setting
awesome.
up, it's in like a speed up, and he's going around, and then he uses the speed up to take his stuff and go sit right back in the corner with his arms crossed again. And so the bartender's like, see, why would I pay one mariachi for just a guitar and singing when I can have a full band? And so Carlos is defeated. He just says, all right, and pays, and he's on his way. He leaves the bar.
And the bartender's all like, "Get a real instrument,"
Yeah,
as
it's
he
like,
walks out.
you want to
It's
make
like
a real
hilarious.
living? Get yourself a real instrument, cabron. And then he's just like, he's like such a nice guy. He's just like,
Yeah,
like a wide-eyed young, he's like a boy here. I don't know how old he
yeah,
actually is, but that's how he acts,
he
like a
definitely acts
boy.
young.
So he just kind of looks over his shoulder, and he's like, oh man.
Well,
And
and there's even a little dialogue about how, this modern time, we're losing all of our, and he actually goes into all what we just talked about instruments and
yeah.
stuff.
And he goes into it again the next time he
Yeah.
goes to a bar. But as he leaves, now enter Azul, just looking fucking mean as shit. And there's music as if fucking Jaws or the Terminator just came into the bar. And the bartender yells at him. He's like, "What the fuck is this? Mariachi day? Get the fuck out of here. I don't got a job for you either." But Azul is not listening to him. He just walks right up to the table of dudes. He orders a beer, and then
In a glass. Or not in a glass.
as the dude is pouring it into a glass, he's like, "In a bottle, dumbass." And so the bartender's just like, "Oh shit." And he's having this, well, he doesn't even have a conversation with these four dudes yet. He's just glaring down all these fucking dudes. It's very, very much like an old Western where these dudes, they don't say shit. Like they're just looking at him. They're kind of like rubbing their face and like looking down, and the tense music is playing. And he's like, "I'm looking for an old friend of mine." And this is kind of throughout the movie. He's always calling, when he was talking to Moko on the phone, he's like, "Yeah, why don't you pay me my money, amigo?" Like he's always like saying friend as if you're not my friend. And he does that again here where he's looking for his old friend. Says who it is, Moko, and the guys are like, "Oh yeah, he comes here sometimes. He owns the place. We work for him." And he's like, "You work for him? Too bad." and he's like, "Hold this," and puts the guitar case in the dude's arms, flips it open, grabs his fucking Uzi, and just blasts the shit out of these dudes.
So awesome.
Yeah, and again, it's the camera work and the seriousness of it.
What's interesting about this scene in particular, and he went over this in that 10-minute film school, was they got the that Uzi was gifted or was borrowed by the police, so it was a real gun, and they had blanks, but the blanks only fired once and then they jammed. So what he had to do when he filmed this is he had to be very strategic, where he shot it and then he like doubled the like thing so it looked like it shot more, but it just shot once. And then he would pan to like where they had like the like exploding whatever in them, and then so like that's when he shot that, like it was very strategic because he only got to shoot that gun once, and then the way that he edited it where it made it seem like he shot it multiple times, it was just super cool to hear that. And like, and he's like, yeah, I could have bought, like a prop gun, but this was cheaper, and you got to do everything to, and so like I just had to be creative with how I shot it. And it was just super cool to like watch the movie and then see that and be like, oh dude, like that wasn't, like, and to see that film magic of him just like do that back in the like 90s. Like it was just awesome.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it adds to the cool factor. Like the scene
Yeah.
looks cool without knowing that. And then you understand why it actually looks like that. And it's cool to learn, but it's like sometimes maybe you should place these limitations on yourself. Like I think about this a lot with video games. Like nowadays you can do anything with the art. And yet you go back to 16-bit, 32-bit graphics, and a lot of that shit looks a lot fucking cooler than even the new retro style of graphics that are 16-bit, 32-bit. Like it actually looked cooler back then. Some of the music sounded cooler because you were placing these limitations on yourself. And now your main goal is the creativity. Like you have to figure out how to make it cool. You don't just start with cool shit and then go from there and kind of do what everybody else does. But here we get that great shot, and it's very contrasting. It's so cool and so like an old school spaghetti western, as opposed to Desperado, which is full on action where Antonio Banderas is like jumping over the bar and like spinning around with the guns and like doing all this crazy shit. But I actually think, and that stuff's cool too, but I actually think this scene is cooler. It's a lot more serious and a lot more like you feel that tension rather than just sort of going along with the ride of the action scene.
Yeah, so good.
Before Azul came in, actually, there was four guys at the table, and one dude had to run into the bathroom and piss. And he's in there, he hears all the gunshots, and you see him like peek out the stall door. And Azul is waiting there at the table. He sees that there's four chairs and four drinks. And so he's just standing there stirring the one drink, holding his fucking Uzi, waiting for the guy. And the guy actually peeks his head now out of the bathroom door and sees what has happened.
Just
And then
holding a piece of toilet paper
he's
too, which is
holding
so
the whole
funny.
roll. And then he runs back in the bathroom. And so Azul, he takes the napkin and puts it over his arm like a waiter, and then takes the drink in there as if he's going to serve him the drink in the bathroom. And as the door shuts, he serves him a load of fucking buckshot instead. Comes back out the bar and just packs up his things and leaves. And as soon as he's out the door, the bartender jumps on the phone and dials. But Azul now comes back, and we see the close up of the bartender, and he's still holding the phone, and he's just like gritting his teeth and flinches, because we think he's coming back to kill the bartender. But instead, he just grabs his beer, pounds the beer in like 1 second, and slams it down like a gunshot, just pays and leaves.
It's so cool though, the way that that scene is shot, because it doesn't actually show him drinking it. It just you just see an empty beer bottle go down, like that like clearly was just drank really fast. Like it was just such a cool shot.
And of course, we know that Moko owns this bar. Those dudes worked for him. And so that's who this guy is calling. And on the other end is Moko yelling at him, "What the fuck's going on here?" And the bartender, for some reason, just yells, "Moko!" And then we like look at the dead bodies there. Also, I guess we'll say about Moko, Moko means boogers, or like mucus is like the actual definition, but I always heard it, or yeah, I heard it used as just boogers. So this guy's name, who is Mauricio, his nickname is apparently Moko. I don't know if that's like a normal thing, if Moko is like short for Mauricio, but
Yeah.
in the context of the movie anyway, that's his name, his shortened nickname or whatever. But it also means boogers. Now I think we cut to Carlos heading into the second bar. The second bar, from the outside, it's a really really cool building. It's like an old saloon. this really cool old wooden thing. It's got like stained glass in the top windows, and he goes in there, and again he's talking about what happened to the days when guitar players were gods. Like we're losing our soul, we're turning into machines. And he sits down at the bar, and this beautiful woman bartender comes out, and he's like, she was the most beautiful thing I had seen all day, besides the turtle. Besides the turtle. And so she comes up, and he orders another soda. And now she, again, she's like, a soda? What are you, a kid? And he's like, oh no, I'm a mariachi. My I can't drink or smoke because my voice is my life. And again, he goes into his pitch about he needs a job and he wants to work here. But she just says that she doesn't have any money to pay him. So again, he just leaves and he says, man, I just don't have any luck today, and walks out the door. And now he goes to the hotel. Or actually, before he goes to the hotel, we see one of Moko's assassins go to the hotel. And he's this dude
Oh
with
yeah, yeah.
aviator
Flannel
glasses
shirt.
and a flannel shirt and a huge fucking mustache. He's got a great mustache, this dude.
I guess his name was what, Bigoton? I always called him Mario because that's just how I remembered him because of his red shirt and his mustache.
I just called him like mustache guy or whatever because
Yeah.
that was his most distinguishing feature.
Or Dick Print because his fucking
Because his pants are so tight. But he goes in there, asks to use the phone, and he calls Moko and learns about the shootings. He tells the dude there, he's like, you be on the lookout for this guy. He's dressed in all black and he carries a guitar case. And he's real mean and he's like threatening this dude as he's saying it. So the hotel guy, who's like a real lazy kind of asshole, he's just like, oh, so you're going to kill me if I don't, huh? And the dude just turns to him real serious and he's like, I won't, but he will. And so the hotel guy's like, oh shit. Now Carlos goes in there to get a room and he says he doesn't have money to pay. He's looking for a job. So can he just get a room on credit or whatever and he'll pay later? And the dude's just like, yeah, you'll pay later. And he gets him his key. And as he's walking to the room, he notices the guitar case and he sees now that he's in all black. And so he's like, wait, you need to put down a deposit. And I assume this means because this
he
dude's
knows he's
going to
gonna
die.
get him killed.
Yeah, he's going to call the dudes and they're going to come kill him. So he wants some money now before he's dead and can't pay and somebody else takes his fucking money. So he's like, okay. And he comes and he's like, I only have a few pesos. So, and he like counts it out. And the dude just takes all his money and puts it in the drawer. He like fucking like snatches it real quick. It's like maybe even like a fast forward kind of camera work scene. And he pays and he goes. And then again in fast forward, this hotel clerk guy jumps up and dials the phone.
Yeah. I love how that was shot. Just like that fast forward movement, like it was just so cool. Like, and you could just tell that it was like he felt the need to call immediately. And it was just such a cool way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool way to show that urgency. So then Carlos goes to his room, he sort of cleans up.
Washes his face a second time.
Yeah. Then he just falls down on the bed. He takes off his jacket and just sort of falls down on the bed. And it's funny the way he collapses on the bed throughout the movie with just his arms above his head like this all the time.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny looking. But he falls asleep, has this weird fucking dream where he walks out. He's in this like desert, this dirt road, little desert town. Everything's run down. There's always in repeated dreams, there's always the imagery of just a house that's completely broken and then a door, just a single door standing there out of the busted house with no walls or ceiling connected to it. And there's this little boy running around, and he's playing basketball. He's dribbling his basketball. The In this first scene, it's the music is synchronized to the basketball dribbling, and it's almost like a clock is ticking or something strange. It's just a dream scene, and usually, and these dream scenes don't entirely add up to anything, but they are sort of showing his apprehension about things, the fact that he has bad luck, bad things are happening to him. And the little boy, he sees the little boy, and he's like smiling at him, and the boy rolls the ball to him, and so he goes to pick up the ball, and then it just turns into a fucking human head as it bounces off of his foot. And then he wakes up.
Yeah, that head looked awesome.
The head, yeah, we'll see the head again where it looks a little bit less awesome, but this first time it looked good. It looked realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now the guy has called the assassins, Moko's henchmen or whatever. And they show up at the place, like 3 dudes with guns, maybe 4 dudes with guns, and they run in there. The clerk is telling them, the hotel guy is telling them where to go, and they fucking kick in the door, and a woman screams in there. And so then the hotel guy's like, "Hey, you fucking room 10. You got the wrong room." And Carlos is woken up, and he's standing out on the balcony, and he sees this shit happening, and then looks at his room, and it's room 10. So now we enter this really cool, like 70s crime movie chase scene music going on with Latin percussion and shit. So he takes off running. He hides
And
real quick.
yeah, this is the scene that he breaks down in that 10-minute film, dude. It's so awesome. Like he breaks down exactly like the shot of like the blue stairs and him like running away, and it's just really cool. You'll have to, yeah.
Yeah, the scene is really cool and really really involved, this action scene.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that somebody could do this on such a low budget. But again, in that making of or whatever thing, he talks about it. So he hides behind the wall as the dudes bust into his room. And then he takes off running past the door by the hotel clerk. Again, the hotel clerk is like, "Hey, he's over here now." And so he runs out on the street. They're looking for him, but they don't know what Azul looks like. They don't know who they're looking for. They're just looking for a guy in all black with a guitar case. So he's out on the street. These guys are running around looking for him. And he ends up walking right by them because he's at the moment not wearing his jacket, doesn't have his case. So he's just wearing a white t-shirt. They don't notice him. He goes back to the hotel. Again, the hotel clerk is like whistling to them or whatever. He's like, "Now he's over here." It's like a fucking like Benny Hill like cartoon chase scene or something, especially with this silly hotel clerk guy. And he hurries up, runs to go get his things from the room. Now he puts on his black jacket and grabs his guitar case. He's running up the stairs. They see him. The shot.
Well, first when he grabs his jacket, he grabs a like a medieval little like, you know, toy or whatever, you know, like metal little thing that he uses that he's just like he looks at that and he's like, "Huh." And it's like a weapon or whatever, but like a small little, you know,
It's like a decoration on the wall.
yeah.
They have that in a later room as well. I don't know if it's like a religious imagery or something, and
Yeah, I
it's just
wonder.
like that's what I figured is why it's just hanging on multiple random walls. But he grabs the little like flail, or I think is what those are called. It doesn't look like it could do much damage or anything. Doesn't even I'm not even sure if it's metal, but he grabs that as a little weapon to possibly use and runs out. He throws his guitar case up to the next balcony, jumps up, climbs up there, and he's running along. These dudes, they're not fucking parkour, so they need to like boost each other up. He runs to the end of the balcony, and now he's like looking down on the street. and he has nowhere to go, and the dudes are behind him. So he cuts this rope, which, by the way, I don't know, but like maybe in Mexico there's a ton of like there was always like ropes and like power lines and like banners
Yeah.
all throughout the city. There was all this like hanging all these like ropes and things. Luckily for him and for the cool action scene, he's got a rope there to use. So he cuts the rope, swings out into the street.
No, he uses that
Oh
thing
yeah,
that he
yeah.
got, and then he zip lines down, and then he goes and he puts his guitar between his legs, and he zip lines through onto the and gets hit by the bus, but then it cuts to him in the bus, and this is really great because they go over this in that little thing. I guess you can see Robert Rodriguez in the mirror with a camera like in that scene because he is filming from in there, and like he when and then like it cuts to him like landing on the front of the bus, and then yeah, but it was just so cool, like that whole thing. I guess they built that little like he didn't actually in the shot of it of he they like built they actually got like a local blacksmith to build that an actual thing that they used that was like $12 is what he said. And that's how they used and then I guess they had one of the henchmen holding the rope as they were doing it. They put that rope there, and then that he was the one who was holding it, one of the henchmen that was chasing him, like because he's like, I just used my actors or whatever. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, because he actually tries to cut the rope, but he can't. And so then he uses the flail thing to go down. And there's multiple scenes in the movie where you can see Robert Rodriguez holding the camera. It's pretty cool that they just,
Yeah.
they had no way to cut that out. They didn't want to sacrifice the shot. So he's got to be there. And now we're on the street. He's running. They get in their truck and they start driving at him to hit him or whatever. They're driving head on, and he just runs up the front of the truck.
Yeah, there's two guys. There's two guys in each window
Yeah, and he runs
shooting
up
at
the
him.
center of the truck, and them shooting out the window as he's running past end up just crossfiring and shooting each other. So
What a
they
scene.
die from his dramatic parkour. And then he jumps down behind the truck. The fucking mustache guy, who's like the main henchman, he comes by, and Carlos is like peeking around the corner of the truck and sees him, and he bashes the shit out of him with his guitar case. And that dude passes out or goes unconscious. And so he grabs the gun up, and then he's looking underneath the truck and he sees the final guy coming up on him. So he jumps out and fucking blasts that dude. And we see him because this is, he doesn't know what's going on. He's just protecting himself. He's just this wide-eyed young mariachi. And so he kills a guy. And then he's kind of like frightened. And he doesn't really, like, you would think that there's people trying to kill me. I should take this gun. But he like just sort of sets it down on the ground and then runs away.
And then now he goes back to the second bar that he went to where the girl was, and is essentially just this is such a funny scene. Like I don't understand how this scene can even like happen, and like how he just essentially confesses to killing a bunch of people, and then she immediately just gives him her room to sleep in. Like it was
Yeah.
just like it's so
He
like
says that he
silly,
killed 4 men, and she's kind of like, what the fuck? And she
like
immediately
about to
goes
call, like
to
she's
grab
about
the
to call,
phone.
yeah.
She's gonna like call the police, and he's like, wait, I didn't, it was self-defense. I'm new in town. I don't have any friends. I don't have any enemies. Like this was a mistake. And somehow he manages to convince her of that. So she tells him that she has a room upstairs that he can use. And now we cut to just the image of her hand on the counter, and like this smooth romantic guitar music comes in, and he's trying to be all smooth, and he like scoops up her hand, and he's like, "Thank you. I'll never forget this." And he goes to kiss her hand, but she just fucking slaps the shit out of him. And she's like, "Go on upstairs." and don't touch anything, and be careful about my pit bull. But she does like, she does have like when she slaps him, she does have like a little smirk on her face.
Yeah, it's like a playful interaction for sure. Very flirty.
Like maybe, yeah, like maybe she does kind of like him, but she's not just gonna fucking like fuck this dude who just killed people and whatever. So now he goes up into the room, and it's
And
like,
realizes it's just like such a nice place, dude. Oh my gosh, what a
yeah,
great
there's
place that
like
was.
heavenly music playing. He's just looking around like, oh my God. There's a bathtub just right in the center of the room, like a medieval tub that you have to like put buckets of water in or something. And the pit bull there, although he's just laying down, he's like a real chill pit bull throughout the entire movie. He falls down on the bed again and does the same like silly little arms above his head thing and closes his eyes for 1 second and starts to have another fucked up dream, and immediately like opens his eyes and decides, I don't want to I don't want to lay down, maybe I don't want to take a nap right now. And so he's walking around looking at the room a little more, then goes back to the tub, and he's kind of like, yeah. And he fucking takes off his jacket and throws his jacket on the ground, and we know that he's just going to take a fucking bath. Now, downstairs, mustache assassin man comes into the bar. Again, has to use the phone because this is how phones were at the time. People don't, only Azul has a fucking portable phone, and
Yeah.
he takes it with him everywhere. But he's down there, he's got to use the phone, he's got to call Moko. We learn now there's a lot of putting the pieces together that happen gradually. And I think all we learn about here is the guy says, this dude in all black with his guitar case, he killed 10
Killed 10
people, and he tells her, be on the lookout. If she sees anyone like that, let them know. The last thing he says is that it's not a guitar, it's a case full of weapons. And so you see on her face now that now she knows how to tell if this guy was telling the truth. So she goes back, or she goes upstairs, finds him in the tub, and she's like, I thought I told you not to fucking touch anything. And he's like, oh, sorry, sorry. And she's like, whatever, just finish. Do you need shampoo? And he's like, oh yeah, thanks. And so she goes to get the shampoo, and right in the drawer next to that, she opens it up, and there's a bunch of shit in there, including she grabs an ice pick, and then she's like, no, no. And then she grabs this fucking medieval knife with all these like intricate decorations. Like it's the most dramatic little, it's like a fucking sacrificial blade or something. It's really cool looking. So
Yeah.
she comes back over to hand him the shampoo. And as she does, she puts the blade to his throat. And she's like, who are you? What's in the case? And he's like, I'm just a mariachi. It's my guitar. And she's like, yeah, we'll see. And she fucking kicks off her shoe, and we get another little foot shot here. And with the dexterity of a dancer, she's using her feet to move the guitar case, to undo the latches, and it's all like this cut back and forth camera work as she's like got the knife to his throat. She slides the guitar case over, opens it up, and it's just the guitar. But she still doesn't believe him. So she grabs the guitar and throws it at him, and she's like, play something. And so he's like nervous and frightened. He's just kind of can manage a little strumming some chords, and she's like, sing. And so he's like, okay. And then she sticks the fucking knife under the water to his dick and tells him to fucking sing. And so then he fucking perks up, and he starts singing this song, which is a really good song, to be completely honest. It rhymes
Yeah.
and everything. And
Yeah.
it's talking about, I got caught with my pants down, and it's in Spanish. These lyrics aren't going to rhyme, but I got caught with my pants down. There might be a castration. I just killed some assholes or something. And now there's this woman with a knife and a ferocious body. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the coolest descriptions I've ever heard, is a ferocious body. But he's playing and singing, and by the end he's kind of getting into it, and she's like kind of relaxing also, because it's funny, like his song, he's not
Yeah.
only good, but he's like witty and funny. And so by the end of the song, he's like into it, and then he's like bowing, he bows to the dog and then to her, and she's like, okay, like I guess you are a mariachi. He's like, you inspired me. That was the best that I ever played.
Yeah.
And through this conversation, she hires him to work for the bar. And she's like, I'm not going to have to inspire you to play, am I? And showing him the knife again. And he's like, no, not in a place like this, because she can't pay him. So payment is room and board. So she's just going to let him stay in this room, which is her room as well. All the while, really, like a lesser director or writer would have finished the scene already, but the scene continues to go on. It's like not just the guitar. Okay, now you play something. Okay, now sing something. It keeps escalating. It could have finished a long time ago, and even here it could have finished. But she goes on to tell him, "Oh, and just so you know, this was just a letter opener. It wasn't a real knife." And then she just kind of flings it at him, and it's like spinning in the air as it drops like into his crotch. But of course, he's still like nervous about it, so he like tries to catch it or move his dick away from it. But it's such a great scene from every
Yeah.
perspective. The the writing, like I said, like somebody else would have maybe cut it already, but this goes on to the end, to even them sort of making friends by the end, and then she has a little joke for him. All the scenes really up to this point are kind of like that. Like they're their own entities. A lot of these scenes, like this one, from beginning to end, is is its own masterful scene with a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has
Yeah.
like an entire arc within the scene. And I think that he was actually singing that too. The next time he sings, it's not him, it's the exterminator guy that you were talking about. But from what I read, nobody else was credited for this song. So I think this was actually him. Now we're getting a shot of a pool table, and there's these dudes playing pool. It's just this like little house. It's not a bar or anything like that. The phone rings. It's Azul's portable phone on the counter, and a hand reaches up, pulls down the phone, and as we're panning over to the scene over there, there's these three women laying in the bed with Azul, and he's just like fucking passed out. And it's not even, it's like a fucking queen size bed, but everyone's laying on it sideways so that they can fit. It's like the most ghetto thing. It's super funny. And the girls are the most ghetto looking chicks. They look like they never take off their fucking the shit that they're sleeping in right now. And they answer the phone. It's for Azul. And so they're like waking him up, and he takes the phone, and it's Moko on the other end. He's pissed. He's telling him, you killed 10 of my men. And he's like, no, it was only 6. He's like, you were always bad at math. That's why you didn't fucking pay me, huh? And they're having this argument, and he's like, if you just pay me, like maybe I'll spare you. And on the other end, like all these scenes are so dense. I don't know if I've used this word before in when talking about this movie, but all the scenes are so dense with different things happening, different camera work happening, different cutbacks and forth. and it's all great. It's all masterfully done. And here, as he's talking on the phone, we go to Moko, and he's in the pool. I think this is the one where he's in the pool and he's on his little floaty lounge thing, and he's always wearing white, and his girl is there as well. And she's like walking out, she's like walking out of the middle of the pool to like give him his drink out there and shit. And he's the boss, and this is what he's doing. And Moko tells him it's too late for any of that. Like, it's too late for making up and giving you your money. Like, you killed 10 of my men. And they're still arguing about the number. They're like making a point of like being confused over that. But Azul's like, yeah, it doesn't matter because I'm going to double the body count if you don't give me my money. Then he goes on, he's like, are you still wearing all white? And he's kind of like laughing at him as if that's like a really stupid thing to do. And then Moko's line, which I almost don't understand, he's just like, what do you see? And then Azul says, I see your clothes soaked in blood. And he just fucking throws the phone.
Well, then he walks out. Azul walks out, and so do the two henchmen. And then one of the henchmen runs back,
With a
and then
big
the
grin
girls
on his
all
face.
with a big grin on his face, like, "Hey, I'm about to take my turn on these girls or
Yeah.
whatever." And then all three of the girls just have Uzis, and they're just like, and then he like jokingly like, "Oh, well," and then walks out. Like, it was such a funny scene.
In the silly, like, fast motion, he sort of like stumbles and, makes his way out of the house. It's a great, yeah, that's a very good scene. And the girls, they
Yeah.
pop up from behind the counter on the bed, and they even like bounce because they're on the bed a
Yeah.
little bit. And the girls,
So
though,
good.
they're credited in the credits. It says Azul's bodyguards, so that gives
Love
them
that.
like a little more credibility there, and that's obviously
Yeah.
what they were doing. Like, they kind
Yeah.
of like watch him when he needs to sleep. Like, they're there with guns in case somebody
Yep.
shows up.
Yeah. Well, and even they just like clearly are like his handlers, you know what I mean? Like, they wake him up, they take his phone calls, they have like a system of like, all right, here, give this phone to her. I'm gonna try to wake him up. No, you're not gonna do that. The other one's gonna wake him up. Like, it was just a really cool, like, interesting, like, you could tell that it's like their whole it's they have a system, whether it be just
Mhm.
them.
And it's a cool parallel to Moko with his girl, who's doing all the
Yeah.
stuff for him. And then Azul is way funnier with just like in the broken ass down house, sideways on the mattress, which I don't even think has sheets on it or anything. It's like just a mattress. So he grabs his guitar case and takes his henchmen. Doesn't really say what he's doing, but we know that he's out looking for
Gonna go double that number,
Moko.
dude.
Yeah, he's got to raise that body count. So now we go back to the bar with Carlos and Domino, which is her
Full
name.
of people.
First, he's up in the bedroom and he's practicing, and he seems a little nervous. And she comes in the room and she's like, "Hey, are you ready? Like, you got to come down and play. There's a bunch of people." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll be there in just a minute, okay?" We hear him practicing this specific song. Then he's down in the bar. It's just fucking packed. Like, it's so packed. And he starts in with the same riff that he was practicing upstairs, sings his song. It's called Ganas de Vivir, Desire to Live. And he sings his song. It's real good. He's doing great. It's like a kind of a slow melodic ballad or whatever. All the while now, Domino is watching him, and she's into it. She's got this like dreamy look on her face as she's watching him. She's kind of like just leaning there on the bar, like not paying attention to anything else. And so much so that some dude sits down at the bar and he's got to like, hey, like snap in front of her face to get her attention. And he's like, give me a beer. And she just kind of gets it and gives it to him like, whatever. She doesn't, she's not paying attention to that. She's paying attention to Carlos. And she's like, she's one of the better actors in the movie with her subtle little things that she's doing. She has a lot of acting to actually do. Like just sitting there with the dreamy look on her face is a great, powerful scene while listening to the emotional song that he's singing. When he finishes the song, dude, the place fucking erupts. It's
Dude, there's
so
no
funny.
way nobody would ever have a reaction to a song like that. I mean, like the song was great and like, but like even like it was just so funny how
It erupts. It was so
erupt
fucking
is the best way to describe it because it's just like "Rah!" Like as if like he just won a touchdown or something.
yeah,
It
it
was
was
insane.
like he won the game or something. He even goes out into the crowd with his guitar and he's doing this. He's just like, yeah. And everyone's like, all the girls are trying to talk to him and everything. And again, back to Domino, I love her acting here, where again, just like her little smirk when she slapped him, it's not like overly sassy or sexy, any of the shit she's doing, but it's subtle and it works. And she seems to have a sense of pride about him doing so well, as if he is her man. At least she likes him, or just that you know, she's proud of him. He didn't let her down. Like he came through. She
Yeah.
believed in him. She gave him a shot and he came through for her. It's her bar. So she hires this dude to play music. There's a bunch of fucking people in the place and he fucking knocks it out of the park. And
Yeah.
so after this, we now cut to the bedroom. They're up in the bedroom. She's in the bed, he's on the floor, and she kind of rolls over onto her stomach and she's wearing this big oversized t-shirt to just go to sleep in or whatever. And again, Robert Rodriguez is apparently a footman because we see her feet, like sort of kicking her feet up in the back. We see the soles of her feet back there as he's sort of smoothing out the sheets on the ground, or maybe even his jacket on the ground that he's going to sleep on. I'm not sure. Then she starts asking him about the song, and she's like, "That was an original, wasn't it?" And he's like, "How did you know?" And she's like, "It seemed like you wrote it for someone." And he's like, there's like this long pause and like this there's a lot of subtle and there's like slow kind of guitar music playing here as well during the scene. There's a lot of subtle just facial expressions. It really feels like two people in a room who like each other but don't know how to say it or like whatever. Like it's really natural what's going on here. And he's just kind of like a little awkward, but then he like looks up and he's like, I did. Like, and it kind of just ends like that. It kind of hangs the little tension between them. As she goes to turn the light off, we see the camera just go to her hand. And then, but before she does, she says, "Sweet dreams." And that kind of perks him up actually. Like he's like, "Oh, like she's not just dismissing me, right? Like she gave me like a little smile. She says sweet dreams and click the light off." And again, enter not sweet dreams. We have another fucking like nightmare scene. And I think this is the one where we actually see the head. He's walking through the
Yeah.
same little town and he sees the boy again. And the boy's sitting there like on the curb or on a wall or something. And he's just got, instead of the basketball, he's got the fucking like head just right next to him.
And it
And it
looks so
looks,
bad.
it looks so fucking bad, so fake. And
But dude,
especially
for
because they,
$7,000, it looked great. Like,
yeah, it was like I don't know, maybe it was just like a mannequin head with some makeup on it or something. They
fucking
even put like a
coconut. He needs a
bandana on
coconut.
its head. Yeah, it was fucking a big coconut. There's like a bandana on its head for no reason.
Yeah.
We never learned the significance of this head or really the dreams in general, but they're, like I said before, they're just nightmares. They're just showing that he is ha- you know, this inner turmoil that he's having, and also his bad luck, like this uncontrollable bad luck that he has. I believe he ends in the dream. He's running through the graveyard. He jumps up on something and like jumps off. And in the air, he fucking wakes up and the dog is just laying
Like
right next
holding
to
him.
him. Yeah, with like his paw up over him. He's just like, fucking get this fucking dog off me.
And then now he goes to the hotel, and then he's like, "Hey, watch my stuff," kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. Now he's woken up in the morning. He he needs to go to the hotel to get his money. So he tells Domino, "You watch my stuff," and he sets his guitar case in front of the bar. Goes to the hotel, and the guy immediately recognizes him and he asks for his money. And this lazy cheap motherfucker, he's like, okay, yeah, I'll give you your, he doesn't say like, hey, I'm not going to use the room anymore, so give me back. He just says, I need my money. Like we both know what happened here, and you're going to give me my money. And the guy's like, he reaches for the drawer and he's like, oh, the drawer's jammed. I don't know. He's just like wiggling the fucking drawer. So Carlos just reaches over, fucking tugs the drawer open, grabs out the wad of cash that's in there, and then he's counting it out. And since he's a nice guy, he gives him one of the bills. Like that's a fat wad of cash as opposed to
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 bills that he gave the guy initially. But he's like, for my troubles, he doesn't say any of this, but this is what we gather, that for his troubles and for that dude being an ass, he's taken all this. And you're not going to say anything because you know what just happened. Like I killed those guys. So, but he gives him one bill
yeah.
because that's his character. He's just is a
And he
nice
does
guy.
call again, doesn't he? He does. He calls right after, doesn't he?
Well, he might, but I forgot to mention when he leaves the bar, Domino goes to the window and watches until he's across the street, and
Yeah.
then she makes a phone call.
Mm.
And the movie even goes as far as to show that it's Moko on the other line. So now we know that she has called. So as Carlos is at the hotel, Azul comes back into the picture and he goes into Domino's bar and he's got his guitar case. He goes in there.
Yeah, he talks to the other bartender, the male bartender that works there.
And again, he just asks for a beer. And again, the bartender, this time he's not pouring it out of a bottle. He goes to the tap and he's pouring him the beer. And again, he tells him, in a bottle, dumbass. And I don't know exactly what this joke is really about. If it's just like drinking beer out of a bottle is like the
Maybe it's the quality of the tap beer.
maybe that, or I was thinking just like maybe this is like in Mexico, like tougher dudes or like working class dudes. They don't got time for like your tap beer or pouring it into a fucking glass. They're just like, pop the top, give me the beer, and I'm gonna fucking drink it. Like that that's kind of what I thought, although it's never really mentioned. But
Yeah.
again, he tells him in a bottle, dumbass. And so the bartender stops and then he just kind of drinks the beer a little himself and then gets him the beer in a bottle. And he's like, isn't there a woman who works here? And the guy's like, yeah, she's the owner. She'll be back in a little bit. And he's like, she's the owner. Like a woman could just never own a fucking bar or whatever.
Well, he probably knows that it's actually the owner is Marco or whatever. That's probably why he's
Yeah.
shocked more than it being a woman.
Because but either way, he now knows and says out loud, he's like, she must be Moko's
One of his
woman.
girls. Yeah.
And that's why she has the bar. So he doesn't say anything more. He just finishes his beer, pays. The dude always pays for his
Yep.
beers. and grabs his guitar case and goes. And now back out on the street, Azul is walking down the street, and I think the hotel guy, but also Domino, has called Moko. And so the assassins are here, and they jump out and they stick guns in his face. They're like, it's him. And the mustache dude is like, I'm not sure. And so he says, what's in the case? And he's like, my guitar. And he's like, don't tell me you're a fucking mariachi. And he's like, see? And so they say, okay, well, we're going to look in this guitar, in this case. And if it's a guitar, we'll let you go. And if it's not, we're going to fuck you up. And so they open the case just a little bit. We don't see anything. We just sort of see the guy like flinching. They're shoving guns like into his neck, and he like can't move and shit. Like they're pushing his face with the guns. And so we just see him like that, like flinching because he's like, I'm gonna get fucked up because that's not a guitar in there. But the guy opens the case, shuts it, and just says, go. And he's like, Azul is like, what the fuck? He doesn't know what's happened. Now we cut to Carlos. This is the part of the movie. Towards the end, we're getting a lot of simultaneous things happening. And so we're getting a lot of cuts back and forth. And of course, they work really, really well within the movie. They're a little more confusing when you're having to talk about it. But we now cut to Carlos coming back to the bar. As he's walking into the bar, he sees Azul walk away. And so then when he comes into the bar, he goes to pick up his guitar case again. And you immediately see on his face, he's like, this is not my guitar. Like, I know my guitar. This is my cock. You know what I mean? Like, this is my everything. This is my manhood. This is my livelihood. You know what your guitar feels like and weighs like and everything. Like you know your woman in the dark. And so he immediately knows, you see on his face, and then he just fucking takes off running out the building. And I assume, because it seems a little sketchy that you would do that, but I assume two things. Number one, he's like, that's my guitar.
Yeah.
And number two, him being the nice guy and whatever, he's thinking, I don't want that guy to come back and be pissed. I'm just going to go give him his shit. Like, I just saw him. So he goes running out. We cut back to Azul, and he's still confused about his guitar case. So he sets it on the ground and he opens it up, and it's just the guitar. And the assassin dudes turn around and see him, and they don't know. They either notice the shock in his face, or they notice that he's just going into his case. And they're like, wait a minute, maybe there was something in there. So they go, it is him. And then Carlos comes around the other corner, and they look at him, and he's wearing all black with a guitar case. The chase music starts again, which is really cool music.
Yeah.
And then they almost comedically are like, that's him. And then they just ensue the chase scene. This one is not as involved as the previous one. Basically, he gets chased into an alley. Well, Azul, once they start the chase with Carlos, Azul just kind of like laughs at him and like shoots him a little like thing and runs the opposite direction. And then Carlos takes off, and he kind of gets trapped in a dead end alley. And the guy's coming with the gun, and he has nothing to do. So he drops the case down, opens it up, pulls out a gun, and now he's going full desperado mode. Like, he shoots this guy, he fucking runs out into the street, he runs right up the top of a parked car. He jumps onto the top of the car to start shooting from the top of the car for no reason. Like, it's just the action scene that's going on. And like I said, he's in full desperado mode here. And then after he does it, though, he's kind of in a daze walking away. Like, you see him, he's like hallucinating the little boy from his dreams. he's got the gun that he's holding up here, and he kind of like bumps into a telephone pole against it because he can't believe what's going on. And like I said about Desperado, this is Desperado was obviously really cool with all the action. The actors are higher level actors, you know, like you can't get anyone else to do what Antonio Banderas did. Like he plays Antonio Banderas to the fullest there, and it's brilliant what he's doing. But that movie doesn't have the depth of the story and just the little plot twists. Like there's no Azul. There's only the Desperado. So the whole movie is really the Azul and the Mariachi. Like that's what makes this movie so cool and unique and interesting, really,
Oh
is the
yeah.
fact that there's the two things. And that's what, you know, there's the innocent young musician guy who just wants to follow in his father's footsteps, and then there's the biggest ugliest Mexican you've ever seen who's out for revenge. Like so that's really what makes the movies so different is the ride, the action ride that is Desperado, and the more interesting story based thing where you're really getting connected with the characters and stuff.
Yeah, it is just awesome. I really like. I don't know. It's interesting to compare the two movies because like I'd love to watch Desperado again because I like haven't seen it in a long time, and now after watching this movie, like I would really love to kind of get the perspective and like see all the similarities and like because there was a couple things that I kind of noticed, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool how it's all connected and all that stuff, and then obviously watching Once Upon a Time in Mexico after that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because I also watched Desperado first. I didn't know about this movie. It
Yeah,
wasn't, it wasn't like pushed or whatever. It wasn't, well, I don't know if it was in theaters. I would have been pretty young in 93 when it came out in theaters, but everybody knew about Desperado. I was super hype when Once Upon a Time in Mexico came out. I saw that in theaters.
same.
So then going back to this one and being like, I think this is actually a lot cooler, even though it has no known actors. It doesn't have the big action scenes and stuff. There's something so stylish and just unique about this. Once you turn it into the big Hollywood thing, like, and I call it like fucking James Cameron syndrome, where you have two movies and the sequel is the same fucking storyline, basically. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, like it's the same story. They're coming to kill Sarah Connor or John Connor. And it just becomes a big action thing. Like that's the big difference is bigger, better, if you want to think of it that way, the action scenes. Or Avatar is like the same plot as Avatar 2. It's just like different graphics. It's just like more, pushing the action, pushing the special effects further. That's kind of what Desperado seems like to me after having seen this movie, which is much more grounded, much more even creative, I think. Even though I mean, it doesn't have Danny Trejo, but I think
Fair.
Danny Trejo was the coolest part of Desperado, and that's why they made Machete, because like they just fucking Danny Trejo is so cool. But after this scene,
Now he goes back to the bar, and then she's like cleaning his wounds.
she's cleaning his wounds at the bar, and we're gathering, like I said, we gather this information really slowly. But now she's specifically talking about Moko. She's like, I talked to someone on the phone who knows what's going on. And what's happening is that they are confusing you for that guy because, well, only Moko has seen him. So all the other people know is that he dresses in all black and he carries a guitar case.
Yeah. I think she says he needs to lay low. Like that's kind of what she says, and then I think the next scene is when the mustache guy goes and talks to. to Moko or whatever, and talks about how, and then the match scene, dude, so good.
After Carlos gets his wounds clean, we get the scene where mustache aviator glasses dude drives up to the ranch, Moko's ranch, and he's just sitting there outside with his head down and his hat, his like little like Panama hat or whatever in his face, and a Marlboro, an unlit Marlboro in his mouth. And the guy says, he killed 2 more of my men, but I got a good look at him this time. So now I'm going to get him. Moko doesn't say anything. He just reaches up with a match and strikes it on the guy's fucking stubble.
So good.
And lights his cigarette. It's so cool. And you can see how the fucking mustache guy doesn't like this. Like, he doesn't like that disrespect. And he's like kind of like rubbing his chin, like he's contemplating this, like he's not going to do anything, and he doesn't even like make a face or anything like that, but you can tell very subtly that he does not like this specific disrespect. No more words are said. He just turns around and leaves, and then Moko fucking makes his face, like this is the first of his like really funny faces, and he makes the face and like flicks the cigarette at him as he leaves. And I don't see the cigarette, but the mustache guy does act as though it like hit him in the butt or something as he's walking away.
The next scene is when they cut back to them, and then she's like, "You want to play me?"
So they're in the bedroom, and she tosses him something, and they're like before bed, just hanging out. And she tosses him something, and she's like, "You want to play me?" He's like, "Sure." And he catches the thing, and it's this like embroidered, personalized set of dominoes, which says Domino on it. I would assume that that's like her name and not that it's Dominoes, because I think when you talk about the game, I think you have an S on it. And then she gets a phone call, and she picks up the phone, and it's Moko on the other end. And he's like, "Come see me." And she's like, "No, I can't." And there's this really long pause as he's like playing solitaire, and he sets down the card, and he's like, "Por favor." Like he says it really like he's not saying please. Like he's saying, "You come see me." Like, and she's like, "No, I can't." And he's like, "Have you ridden the motorcycle?" And she's like, "No, I'm hanging up now." And she hangs up the phone. And him on the other end, when she hangs up, like he's so disrespected. But then the camera, like you see just like it's kind of a little twitch in his eyes. But then the camera looks at this stupid little fucking doll on the desk. It's
Yeah,
like
it's so funny. Like, what the fuck?
it's like this really white face with like one of those British like military, like old school military hats that's like really tall, and it's got the chin strap and shit. And then you see like another eye twitch, like he's really mad at it. And then it zooms in on the little doll, and it's really weird and out of place. But at the same time, it works, and it adds this tension, like something is about to snap, like something's going to break, and we don't see it break, but we see the fragile little porcelain doll that he's getting mad at. And then we cut away from him and go back to the bedroom with Domino and Carlos. And he's like, "Was that your boyfriend?" And she's like, "No." And then I don't know what he would have said in English, but in Spanish, "Gringo." And then she laughs and is like, "Yeah." It's like it's like some fucking white guy. And as if like I don't know, as if it's just funny to think that like, oh well, she wouldn't be dating a gringo. Like it's just some guy who's trying to get with her. Then Carlos goes on and he's talking about, "So I don't understand if you keep telling me you're so poor. How did you get this place? And she tells him that, when you like a girl and you give her flowers and candy and jewelry and stuff until you win her over. So he asks, who is the guy that's trying to win you over? And now she fully comes out and says, it's Moko. Her acting here is is really great. You can tell how embarrassed and like dirty she feels to not only like be in this situation, not only be telling him, but to have been doing it. And they're trying to kill him and all this shit. And she just feels dirty about it. And you can read all this in her in a way that you can't really read things in the other characters, besides just fucking Azul being mad and shit like that. Moko is actually a really good actor as well. But they're talking about this. She says that the last thing he got her was the motorcycle, and he wants her to ride it out to his place when she's ready to give herself to him. He thinks that he can convince me. Carlos says, can he? And she says, he could have, but not anymore. And she sort of gives him, there's this like eye contact. And then again, the same camera shot of her reaching over to flip out the lights. There's a longer hesitation this time, and then the lights go out. And now we assume that they're playing dominoes. Now they're
Oh
playing
yeah,
some dominoes in there.
absolutely they are.
And it's really a beautiful way to do it. Like, it's not
Yeah,
full on desperado, like fucking sex. The sex scene in
like Selma
Desperado is
Hayek,
great.
dude. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
it's great, but this is so subtle and good. And
Yeah,
it fits her character so much because the whole
yeah,
time she has sort of remained classy, you know, and she hasn't even fucked Moko. Like, another girl would have been getting all these gifts and fucking him, but she's not. And so it fits her character really well. It's a creative, interesting, and classy way to go about this. And I think also with with the dominoes, they're gonna play dominoes, and then instead of playing dominoes, he plays some dominoes or whatever you want to say it. And it's a really cool scene.
yeah, it is. It is. And then he has another dream.
Hmm. He has another dream, a very similar to all the other ones, where now he's running through the cemetery even more. It's actually a much cooler fucking cemetery than we have here in the States. Like, some of the tombstones are like painted. They're like bright
Yeah.
blue and all this stuff. It looks cool. We see her, there's like a flash scene of her, and she's covered in blood. From there, we snap awake, and he sits up real quick, and there's the fucking dog again, just in his face. And she comes over, and we keep this cool camera work, this cool scene of the dog in his face, and him just sort of sitting up, because she leans over, she puts her arm around the dog, and now she's down at that level, like in his face, and trying to give him money to be like, hey, you go get another guitar. And he doesn't want to accept the money. And she's like, come on, I didn't say go get the best guitar in the fucking place, but you need a guitar so that you can play again tonight. And so he eventually accepts the money, goes out to, he's walking down the street to the shop. He's standing in front of the shop window looking at the guitars. And here's another scene where we see the cameraman in the reflection of the window, and it's only like a flash. Like, you might think it's just somebody, if you were like not didn't rewind it to check, you might think that it was just somebody else on the street, but you can sort of see the camera there, and they just refuse to like compromise the angle of the shot. And so they did it this way. They could have moved a little bit more and still got a similar shot, but they didn't want that. So they got the shot they wanted, a little bit of Robert Rodriguez there in the window. And again, like I was saying about the people on the street, as we're because we have like sort of a long shot of just his face and like deliberating over what guitar to buy. And there's a group of people all down the sidewalk just looking at the camera like, what the fuck's going on over there? Like, is somebody like filming that shit? What the fuck? And it's really funny to like see them, because at that time, I mean, he was using a film camera. It was not like a small camera, it was a
Yeah, yeah.
big professional camera. So it would have been it would have stuck out a lot more. But even if it wasn't, people didn't just walk around with you. Like, you could probably get fucking arrested or beat up in 1992 walking around the street with a camera just filming shit. Like, people would not think that was cool. Now they have the meta glasses and shit where you can just fucking do it and like not even tell people. People don't even know you're like a fucking spy with your glasses. But as he's looking at these guitars in the window, fucking mustache assassin comes out of nowhere and sees him and just immediately starts shooting.
And misses, dude. That guy fucking misses every time.
Yeah, dude, this is like the third time that he's had the opportunity to shoot him, but he misses. Carlos goes running again, jumps into the back of a bright yellow truck. Mustache Man is chasing him. He's running down the sidewalk. He gets on. He's wearing this walkie-talkie actually the whole time. It's like a massive walkie-talkie he's got on his pants or whatever. And so he gets on that thing and he's like, he took off running. He jumped into a truck. Or just that he took off running. But the guy says, yeah, he jumped into the back of my truck. And so he stops and Carlos is like hunched down there in the back, like looking around. He peeks up and he sees Mustache Man sprinting at him down the sidewalk. So then he like turns around the other way to jump out or run or something. But the driver has come around and just fucking Ben from the Night of the Living Dead fucking punches him in the jaw, knocks him unconscious. And so now they have him in the back of the truck and they're going to take him to Moco. And another funny just bystander scene happens here, because as the truck is driving off, we see this fucking crazy looking old man
Oh my
just
god.
on the payphone.
Yeah,
And
that
he's just like,
scene. It's just like his face. It's like
he's
so
just
awkward.
like, he's not even talking on the phone. He's just like eyes wide, mouth hanging open. It's such a funny image. I think we now things start to speed up and are a little bit out of order, or not out of order, but cutting back and forth. And so we take Carlos to Moco's ranch. They pull up, mustache dude gets out, and he's like proud. He thinks that he's caught the guy.
Did you
And
see
so,
the license plate on that yellow truck?
oh yeah, the fucking Batman bat symbol. And it's so perfect because the truck is bright yellow.
Yeah,
And then with the
so
yellow
funny.
bat symbol too, is like so fucking
Yeah,
funny.
that was
All these
awesome.
trucks are great too. They're
Oh
like,
yeah. Well, apparently the black one was like the truck that they used to like haul all the cameras equipment and stuff. Like, it was like in a few shots like earlier in the movie.
yeah. And they're all like, except that one, all the other trucks they're all trucks, and they're all work trucks that have seen a lot of work. Like, you can
Yeah.
tell that these are real fucking trucks. And when the dudes like they jump in the back, that these dudes have ridden in the back of a truck a million times, like how
Yeah. Oh
comfortable
yeah.
and relaxed they are just like chilling back there. But Mustache Man pulls up in the truck, he motions Moko over, drops the tailgate, and he's standing there like, yeah, I fucking got him. And Moko comes up and he's actually got a little smile on his face. and he puts his arm around the guy to like congratulate him. But as soon as he sees who it is, he drops his arm and then strikes another match on the back of the dude's fucking neck. And he's just like, that's not him. And fucking again, the dude like doesn't like this. Like you see him like jump and like fucking grab his neck and shit. And that's all that's said here
Yeah.
is that's not him. And he walks back to just do whatever the fuck he was doing. And Mustache Man, he gets back in the fucking truck, drive him back into town. Back at Azul's place, the two guys, now when Azul got held up by the three gunmen, these two guys were there in the truck, his Azul's henchmen or whatever, underlings. And they saw what was happening and they're like, we got to get out of here. It's only three of them. He can handle it. And then they just fucking run away in the truck, even though there's three guys holding guns to fucking Azul's face. So there was actually another scene where he comes home and gets pissed at him.
He tells him to go look for his guitar.
Mm-hmm. He tells him to go find his guitar case. And so now he's back at the house and the two guys come in. The girls, again, jump up with the fucking guns. And then they're like, oh, it's just these motherfuckers. they're like pissed that they don't get to shoot somebody or something. And Azul gets up and he's like putting his pants on and shit. And he's like, did you find my guitar case? And they're like, no, but we heard that you got caught by Moko. And we were coming here to see if that was true. And so now Azul knows that they have the mariachi. And back the first time he was at Domino's bar, he said, oh, it's a woman owns the bar. That must be Moko's girl. And then the bartender, he gets this look on his face like, oh, I don't know. I see her hanging around with some musician. So he's trying to deflect, and he says that about the musician, the mariachi. So when Azul says, or when they tell Azul that they thought he got captured, he knows that wasn't him. That was the mariachi, and those two have a thing, Domino and the mariachi. So he goes back to the bar now. He sits down and orders a beer. She knows what she's doing, so she gives him the bottle. She knows this. He doesn't have to get pissed at her. And she says, is there anything else? And he says, my guitar case, and makes her go get it. And then she comes back down, gives him his guitar case. Again, he pays for the beer, and he gets up to leave. As he's leaving, he turns around to her, and he's like, you come with me if you want to see your mariachi, because you know how to get to Moko's ranch, and I don't. This is the confrontation we're setting up here. The other guys in the Batman truck, they drop off Carlos. They dump him in the middle of the fucking street. And there's like cars like honking at him to get the fuck out. And he stumbles back to the bar. We're cutting back and forth a lot now. Azul drives his truck up to Moko's ranch. The woman gets out, Domino gets out, and she's not acting the smartest here. And she just immediately starts yelling for him to come out.
I know. God.
And Azul drops his guitar case on the hood of the car, grabs a gun, and then grabs her and puts the gun to her head and tells her to play along. Now we're cutting back to Carlos. He gets to the bar. He finds out what happened. And so he goes. She not only told him about the motorcycle, she lifted up this like ceramic cat or something. And under the cat was the keys to the motorcycle. And so he knows where the keys are. He runs up there to get the keys. The dog is in the shot. There's a lot of cool shots of just the dog as if he's a part of the fucking movie, even though he doesn't do anything.
As uninterested as that dog is in
Yeah,
anything.
he's the tamest, gentlest pit bull I've ever seen. He grabs the keys. Now we go back to Moko's ranch, and Azul is kicking on the gate, and he's yelling at him to come out. Eventually, they open the gate, and there's Moko and all his men, and they're all got guns. And the first thing Moko says is he actually apologizes to Domino. And he says, I'm sorry that he used you to get to me. And Azul, he wants his money. Moko just motions for one of his men to go get the money because he still wants Domino. He doesn't
Yeah.
want anything bad to happen to her. And again, stupidly, Domino is talking too much here. And so she says, what did you do with him? Because she still thinks that like they captured him or something.
That he's still there.
So she says, what did you do with him? And he's like, who? And she says, the mariachi that these guys confused with Azul. And now as she says that, the tense drum music that was playing stops right there. Just as now Moko, he knows everything. And we know in that tense moment with the music change that it's over for her.
Yeah. But it's interesting because Azul is still like, I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill her. Like he's still trying to like keep it up, but she's just
He's
totally fucking
trying
it
to
up.
keep control of the situation, but he knows, he's like, that's why you hung up on me last night. You were having a party without me?
Dude, this is where his acting, like he just becomes like a big baby, like throwing a fit, dude. It's so funny.
It's his facial expressions. I think it's great what he's doing here. But his
Yeah, it's
facial
cool.
expressions are out of control, like a little kid. Like
Yeah.
even when he flicked the cigarette, that was like the beginning of this, where he's like, and he flicks the cigarette at the fucking other guy. Like that's the beginning of this like out of control, power hungry little man that he is. So he's like, you were having a party without me, with that musician's hands all over you. And every word out of his mouth is combined with like the most twisted, visceral, childish little facial expressions. And again, Azul is trying to keep it up. He's like, I'll kill her. And Moko's like, no, you won't. I will. And he just fucking raises his gun and shoots. And we don't see that. We immediately, with the gunshot, cut to Carlos riding the motorcycle, but he's making his way out to the ranch. How he knows how to, oh, no. He tells the bartender actually to make me a map of how to get to
I
the
did like
ranch.
how they
So
added
that's how
that
he
in there.
knows. Because he was knocked unconscious when he was there the first time. So he's riding the motorcycle out. Now we cut back to Azul, and he's lowering Domino's body to the ground, and he's like looking at the blood on his hands and everything. And Moko's like, you feel bad for her, don't you? And he's like, I just wanted my money, but you have to kill everybody. And Moko says, that's why you're never going to be as big as me, because you have too much heart. And he fucking shoots him. The like look on Azul's face is really funny when he gets shot. And he drops to his knees, and then he shoots him again. So he's done for as well. Now Carlos finally shows up. He walks past the case of guns because he's too much of a nice guy. He goes in there and he sees Domino dead. He like cradles her head and he kisses her forehead. And then Moko and his men come back out. They all have guns, of course. Carlos just raises his hands in surrender. Moko says, "So you're the mariachi who came into my town and killed my men and took my girl." And he just raises his hands in surrender. And then he starts making fun of him. He's like, "Oh, you're so talented playing your little guitarita." Like, it's so funny, the taunting that he's going through here. And he's like, "No more." And he shoots Carlos's raised hand. And then there's this really funny scream as he gets shot, and it's like down pitched to be like deep and like slow and like really weird as he screams and looks at his hand, which is like looks good. Of all the like shootings, this is the one where they made it look like the flesh was like torn from the hand and like he really got
Yeah.
shot, as opposed to just like a blood packet kind of explosion.
Yeah.
Then Moko is just laughing. The laugh is like really funny. It's not even
Yeah.
the best laugh, but it's so funny. And then he's like, "Get off my property and take your hand with you." And then he just starts cracking up. And Carlos sees the gun that Azul had on the ground. And so he reaches for the gun, stands up to fucking shoot him. And Moko is so involved in his own laughing. He's actually like looking around at his dudes like, "Did you hear my fucking joke, guys? That was funny." While all his guys scatter. They all have guns, but they just get the fuck out of the way as Carlos stands up and just starts fucking unloading the gun on him. And it is one of the most satisfying revenge kills in a movie because he's in the middle of this taunting and this laughing and everything and gets shot. We see his men give up on him. They're not even going to protect him. They're going to get the fuck out of the way as he gets fucking blasted. And now his white clothes are covered in blood. The other guys just look at him. They walk up to the body. Mustache guy leans down to check the pulse and then just strikes a fucking match on his dead fucking chin and
So
lights
good.
his own cigarette. And now he's the boss, right? Like that's kind of, not only does he get a little bit of revenge, but like he's the boss now. And then everybody looks at Carlos to see if he's going to do anything else, but he just drops the gun. And so these dudes, they don't give a shit that guy got shot. They're like, "Oh, well,
Whatever. That guy was an asshole.
yeah."
Yeah.
And so they just walk back into the house. And by the way, one of these dudes was wearing a Cure shirt. Did you see that?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know that the Cure was big in Mexico, but maybe it was, or maybe they were. And so Carlos, he kisses Domino on the cheek one last time, goes out to the truck, gets the guitar case. He like checks it. He looks inside, and then just takes the guitar, the case full of weapons, and leaves. And we cut to black screen. And now in the black screen, because the movie is not over quite yet, we go back to the poetic narration about his bad luck and all I wanted was to be a mariachi and follow in my ancestors' footsteps. Now, with this injury to my hand, I can never play guitar again. Domino is gone, and so I have no love. And he pulls out, he's got the fucking little knife that she was going to cut his balls off with, or his letter opener, but either way. And then he fucking sticks it on the front of the motorcycle as if it's like a hood ornament there. And he's like, "But with the dog," which he has the dog on the back of the motorcycle.
There's no way, as someone who rides a motorcycle, having a guitar case, a dog, like all of that, like on there, and then him also riding with a freaking
fucked up hand.
with a electric taped up hand, like as if he would be able
Yeah,
to. Like, there's just no way.
the hand was so good. It's a combination, dude. It was duct tape with electrical tape over
Yeah,
it. I think to make it like actually look cooler. It was a weird Ninja
yeah,
Turtle looking like demon
yeah.
hand.
He like had his fingers like kind of like this, like it was all like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
so funny.
And he's just like with the dog and the weapons and the bike. Now I'm prepared for the future. And then he just fucking rides off. Tito Tortuga comes back and he's just walking across the highway as he drives down the same highway right where he was hitchhiking. We see the
Yeah,
same sign behind him where the movie started. We get the same poetic narration of a beginning and an end, a close to the chapter of his journal that he was writing, and now he's writing in the other direction, a completely changed man. He was just the wide-eyed musician in the beginning going this way, and now he's this fucking dude with a pit bull and fucking a case full of guns and, a heavy heart, driving off with now the mariachi theme comes back in as he drives off into the highway.
so good, so good.
Great, great ending.
Yeah, it was great. I love an ending where a bunch of people die, like all the main characters die. Like that's just one of my favorite. Like I know it's just like some people want it all wrapped nice, but dude, I just love a good ending where I'm not gonna say they deserved it, but they definitely like got what they. I mean, the way that they even like were talking to him, like of course he was gonna shoot you. Like
Mhm. Like it can be cheapified either way. You can have
yeah,
everybody survive in the end and it be cheap. You can just kill everybody and it also be cheap. But
yeah,
having like too much of a feel good ending is usually not the best way to do it. Like the end of 28 Days, where they're just like happy and like have the little farmhouse and like the music is suddenly all happy and it just like doesn't fit the spirit of the movie,
yeah,
and just it makes it a little cheap if you're trying too hard to do that. This was
yeah,
almost like, you didn't want to see Domino die, but you do, and now this guy is this traveling musician is now starting a new chapter of his life. And this is probably my favorite Robert Rodriguez movie. It just has a style and flair that none of his other movies have. I think that's why it's my favorite, because the other movies that I really like are really good, but they're all similar. They're all kind of the same. This one, because of the constraints, because of the actors that he was using, he goes on to almost always now use this big ensemble cast of really big name actors. Whereas here he's using like his friends and shit. And he's using $7,000 worth of stuff. Everything you have to figure out how to make the movie rather than get an ensemble cast, and like Antonio Banderas is going to take care of a lot of that shit. Like you don't need
oh,
to get creative with the camera work. Like you just put the camera on Antonio, you put the camera
mhm,
on Selma Hayek, like they're going to do their thing. This one has a little something different and a little something extra for me than all his other movies. So as far as the actors, I really like Consuelo Gomez. I think that besides Peter Marquardt as the villain Moko, Consuelo Gomez as Domino just does a lot of little subtle things that make me fall for her. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like that's good acting when
But you
you
believed her character. You could believe that that was a real person. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that. Yeah,
Making these decisions about with the relationship with the mariachi. She's like making these decisions like a real person. It's not just a
yeah,
movie where it's like now they're gonna fuck, now they're gonna kiss. She's making real life decisions. You see her progressively kind of maybe like him, think he's cute, kind of have the little like dreamy look in her eyes as he's playing his song, kind of flirting with him in the bedroom and stuff until they're full on playing dominoes.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, I really like her because like I said, she makes me feel things for her. She makes me fall for her as a viewer. And if a character can do that, that's a powerful thing.
Yeah. I really just loved how, because it was so like, small budget and like the actors you could tell were just like dudes, you know what I mean? I loved like how so I guess the bartender and the guy who worked at the hotel, they were like newscasters in that town or something, and like he like got them like to do that to because they were like worried, like he didn't want to like get any trouble or whatever. Like it was like they were like big people in that city. And like I just love that. I love that, like, when you looking at all the actors, like they all like it seemed like legitimate in a way where they were dirty, their hair was messed up, like it wasn't, they weren't all like and you watch a normal a movie nowadays, or even a movie in the 2000s or whatever, like their hair is all done, everybody is all completely did up and everything, and like you could just tell that these people were like working hard, whether that be working hard in a movie or working on to be, to be like this character. Like it was just believable, and I just loved that about all of the characters. But obviously, like Azul, like he was hilarious, like his subtle little things. Like I just loved like how like like he was consistent with how he was, and like I loved that he just like always had these three girls, and I don't know, just like it was just great. Like I mean all the characters I think were really done well. Like I liked the Marco guy at the beginning, but like towards the end, like I definitely was like, all right, dude, like this dude is, but like that kind of was the character. Like you kind of like he needed to do that to be hated, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
like, so I don't know, but I mean I definitely I think my obviously, Domino was amazing. Like I for all the same reasons that you said, like she really was believable and amazing. But and even Carlos like did really well. Like he portrayed a young, eager, guy who's just trying to make a living, and just dealing with the hand that he's dealt, like, and I mean, I feel like, that he did well. I think overall, I really liked everybody.
Yeah. I think Azul is really good because he is intimidating. Like he does that really well. He seems like the fucking Terminator when he's coming into the room. And Moko as well played like the supervillain really, really well until he, even at the end, like you expect that weird bitterness, the like, the Napoleon complex little man bitter shit to come out in the end. And then it does. And it's like a little silly, but he also doesn't seem like he actually spoke Spanish too. And he had
Yeah.
to do the whole fucking movie in Spanish, which is really good for him as well. But also worked for his character because he's supposed to be the gringo and the sort of outsider or whatever. So that'll do it for this week's episode. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening. Until next time,
See you later.
adios.